Hello everybody out there in YouTube land. Here I am, Ruby's Creative Cooking. I'm back again, and today I am making meatloaf. So, meatloaf is so basic a food that I don't even have the recipe written down. So, if you've never made it before and you want to try it, better get out your pen and paper and make some notes, because I'll have to type it up and put it in the thing below because this is so easy to do that I don't even, like I said, it's not even written down. First of all, I'm going to take an onion and I'm going to cut it up nice and small because I don't want raw chunks of onion in my meatloaf. So, I'm just going to slice this up really super fine here. Try not to cut my fingers while I'm doing it. And just get this all cut up nice and fine. And these other slices, I'll just slice them up nice and fine too. So I might sweat these onions if I wasn't in a hurry, because I want to make sure this is not raw onion when my meatloaf gets cooked. I talked about that in another video, how to sweat your onions. You put them on in a frying pan with a little bit of oil, and you just cook them till they're transparent, not brown, just transparent. Okay, a little bit of oil, a little bit of pan. So I'm just gonna cut these up nice and fine, and they should need sweating. Okay, this is just a regular white or yellow onion. That's just a common variety onion that you find in your grocery store. Nothing special about it. And that'd just be a rather small specimen. Oh dear, my eyes are going to start to water now. I'm not crying, honestly. Today, I'm making my meatloaf with extra lean hamburger, about a pound, and which is about 500 grams, 454 grams to be official. But 500 is pretty close. And this is ground pork. Now, last Christmas, my husband got me a meat grinder, the attachment for my KitchenAid sand mixer, and I now grind my own meat because I have never found ground pork to be at a grocery store particularly cheaply, and I have always wanted to do some ground pork. And you can't do it unless you pay $6 or $7 a pound for it. I'm just adding some salt and some pepper to my to my meat. Ooh, still trying not to cry from the onions. And there I'm going to break in an egg. There we go. One egg, that's to help bind it up. And I'm going to add a few breadcrumbs. These are just regular white bread that got stale. So I made some breadcrumbs. I just dried them out by putting them out on a plate. Actually, it was more of a platter, what I had left of them, and I just beat them up with my meat tenderizer. You can roll them with a rolling pin or flatten them. You just crush them, however you have to crush them. Put them in a zipper bag and just flatten them, crush them. Use a wooden mallet or whatever you need to use to crush them with. I just used my, like I said, I used my meat tenderizer on the flat side. But you can also use a rolling pin. You could use a glass bottle, but you have to be careful not to break it. Be very careful not to break it. And just, oh, there's my oven telling me it's now up to temperature to take my meatloaf in, and my meatloaf is just getting started. And this is kind of messy because I have to mix my egg into my meat and my onions and my salt and pepper. And I also have a can of tomato soup standing by here, which is another thing that goes into your meatloaf. Now, after I get this on cooking in the oven, I'm going to put some potatoes on to boil. I'm just going to microwave them. And then I'm going to mash them. And then when my meatloaf has been in the oven for about an hour, I'm going to take those potatoes, those mashed potatoes, and I'm going to put them on top of my meatloaf like they were icing. I'm going to put it under the broiler for 5 to 10 minutes till my potatoes start to turn kind of brown and crusty. And then I'm going to take it out and have it for dinner. Sometimes I mix frozen vegetables into my meatloaf, and that makes it a full meal in one container. Saves on pots, because if I don't put my vegetables in here, well, you know what? I have to cook them in the microwave or cook them on top of the stove, and that dirties an extra pot to be washed afterwards. And why would I want to do that to myself? Why create dirty dishes for myself to clean up, right? Okay, well, here's my nice big piece of mixed pork and beef. And I've got my onions and my breadcrumbs and my salt and pepper all mixed in here. Now I'm just going to roughly shape this like a loaf. Put this in my loaf pan. This right here is a particularly ancient specimen of the loaf pan. It's a Corningware loaf pan. And these are now considered to be valuable antiques for some reason. People wanting to relive their childhood nostalgia, I guess. And they want to have this kind of I understand they go for $50 or $60 or $70 or something or other. So if you have one, hang on to it. But it makes a great meatloaf pan for doing your meatloaf in the oven. It also makes a great bread pan for doing bread. So I keep it for doing meatloaf and for doing bread, because in a future video I'm going to make bread, and I'm going to show you how to make bread. And if you always thought it was hard and difficult and exotic and rare and all that kind of stuff, well, it's not. Bread was considered the staff of life, one of the basic foods that people ate every single day. And well, guess what? They couldn't go to the grocery store and buy it. They had to make it themselves. And in some countries, they have bakeries that specialize in making only bread. And they still do to this day in places in the world where people don't have their kitchens equipped with their own ovens. People will make up their own dough, and the kids take it off to school and drop it off at the bakery on their way to school. Can you imagine expecting your kids to drop off your bread dough on the way to school at the bakery to be baked? Wouldn't that be something? By the way, don't forget to take the bread with you when you... Anyway, I'm going to wash my hands off, and I'm going to put this right in the oven because it's getting on for 4 o'clock. Well, it's after 4 o'clock. Actually, I'm a bit late getting started at this because I'm trying to get my YouTube channel launched, and it's giving me some trouble. In the oven it goes, 350 degrees Fahrenheit, which is, what is that? I think it's about 170 Celsius if I recall correctly. And in it goes for an hour. There, 1 hour. Let's chop up my potatoes and get them ready. I've got 4 potatoes here to go in the oven. That's okay, I can use this knife again. I'm just going to slice these potatoes up. I wouldn't use a knife that had been used before, but you know what? These are just going on to boil, and I'm going to put them on the meatloaf anyway, so anything that gets on here is going to be part of the meatloaf. There. Just going to break these apart. Now this meatloaf will be supper for my husband and I tonight and tomorrow night. So 2 nights food. I'm just going to put some vegetables on. Frozen mixed vegetables. One of my favorite things to put on for the 2 of us. Because there's 2 of us, and frozen mixed vegetables give me a mixture of vegetables without my having to open 3 or 4 packages of frozen vegetables to get, you know, some corn, to get some peas, to get some this, to get some that, you know. It's all in there together. Although I'm going to have to do that soon because I'm nearly at the end of my frozen mixed vegetables. And I think my husband wants corn, and this particular mixture is, I think it's broccoli, cauliflower, and carrots, and he's getting a little tired of it. So I'll have to mix up some corn and peas or something like that for a change. There we go. Now I'll just put some water on my potatoes. And since I'm only microwaving these for 9 minutes, I don't have to put them on just yet, although I can, because then they'll be all ready for mashing when I get ready to go. This is my microwave safe pot. Can't use it on top of the stove, but I can use it in the microwave. I'm just going to pop these on. Actually, I will start those now, and then I'll have them ready to mash before the meatloaf is ready. Okay, well, I'm going to come back because it's about 5 minutes before my meatloaf is ready to come out of the oven and have the potatoes added to the top of it. And I've added about 2 tablespoons of butter here. I'm going to add a little bit of milk to my potatoes before I mash them, and they'll be all ready when my meat comes out of the oven. There we go. I'm just gonna about a tablespoon or so of milk, just a little bit, just a little splash. I've already drained off the water, and I'm just going to take my potato masher. A bit of an unclassic design, but it works very well as a potato masher. Give us a good mashing, and then when the meatloaf base comes out of the oven, I'll be ready to put this on top. And 375 is about 175 degrees Celsius. 350 Fahrenheit. Yeah, 350 Fahrenheit is about 170 degrees Celsius. So just bringing that up to date. And like I said, when it comes out, I will be putting my potatoes on top and putting it back in under my broiler, which is about 500 degrees Fahrenheit. It's really hot. About 5-10 minutes and my potatoes will be nice and golden brown and ready to be served. I'll probably probe that with the meat thermometer, make sure that it's cooked and not, because nobody likes underdone meatloaf. At least I don't like underdone meatloaf. I like it to be brown all the way through. There we go. Here's my mashed potatoes. Ta-da! How did that taste? Who needs instant mashed potatoes? Right? There you go. Done. Alright, here I am back again, and it's about an hour and 25, an hour and a half later. Now my base here for my meatloaf is all nicely cooked. You can see it all bubbly and hot. And I have my potatoes, my nicely mashed potatoes right here. And I'm just going to spoon these on top. And my oven is on 500 degrees on broil, so I can get my potatoes nice and golden brown on top, so it gives it a nice, that's for eye appeal. Okay, I don't usually go for eye appeal, but it's such a beautiful color and makes your potatoes on top look so nice when they're nicely colored like that. I cut up about 4 potatoes here to make this amount of potatoes, which looks like a really thick, generous amount on top. That's enough for a family right there. So there we go. I'll probably do my husband and I about 6 servings of that. So anyway, I'll have a nice. And I've cooked some vegetables. I decided I'd do peas and corn tonight instead of doing mixed vegetables tonight. So give ourselves a bit of variety. Anyway, back in the oven this goes, about 5 to 10 minutes on broil. And like I said, that's 170 degrees Celsius, 350 degrees Fahrenheit. But I found it took me about an hour and 20 minutes tonight. Yeah, okay, in the oven it goes. I hope you're enjoying this recipe. And I hope you're gonna, try this out sometime at home. And when you have a couple of pounds of hamburger, or a pound of hamburger and a pound of ground pork to try it out. I've been doing it for years with just with hamburger. You know, no pork added, but we decided we like the flavor of the two meats joined together, you know, kind of mixed together. Gives it a different flavor. But can of tomato soup and hamburger and a few breadcrumbs, an egg, some salt and pepper, an onion chopped up, and there you go, meatloaf. Who needs a recipe? Just remember that and put your potatoes on top. I'm going to pop this in the oven and then I'll be right back. And now I've set that for about 10 minutes and we'll see what that looks like when we get back. I'll bring it back again. I'll go away and bring it back again when I've got my dinner ready to serve up. So I'm back again about 5 minutes later, and here is my beautiful bubbling meatloaf. Now, anyway, sometimes we put the vegetables in the meatloaf, which I like to do sometimes, but this time I'm making a more basic meatloaf. And there we go. Just kind of serve up a nice generous serving of meatloaf with nice potatoes on top of it. And there it is. Potatoes with hamburger goodness underneath. There you go. And I'm just going to get some tomato soup makes a lovely sauce on it. Don't really have to add much salt to it because there's a lot of salt in that tomato soup. There you go. And you can add some, just going to add some vegetables to my plate. And that'll be a complete dinner. Meat and 2 veg. Meat and 2 veg plus potatoes. Okay? I hope you enjoyed this meal, and I hope you'll try this recipe for meatloaf. And if you do, let me know how it goes. And don't forget to subscribe if you enjoyed what you saw today, and click like. Maybe make a comment. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this watching Ruby's Classic Cooking, and I hope you'll join me again on my YouTube channel next time I'm cooking up something. All right, bye for now.